right? Don't have nothing to do with us. That was the county, that was the city. We're the federal government. So it was clear that, because the sheriff told them the truth. The county sheriff told them the truth. And they said if he stands up in court and says that they might believe him, you know. But now it was pretty easy to, Negroes show up in court in the early 70s. It's easy to set him up because, it's a nigger. And they show a couple of pictures of how I was dressed and stuff like that. So that's a drug dealer there. That ain't no civil rights fighter. You know what I mean? That's no East Oakland Enterprise developer. Anyway, a great recovery, a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback. The reason we wrote this 9 years ago is because one of the guys that I like here in D.C., he used this phrase exactly like I'm using, but we always knew a setup for a comeback and all that. But I like that. Victor Jolly is his name. He's from D.C., one of the motivational speakers. Yeah, did you hear it?
Well, I didn't hear it, but I did read his profile.
Yeah, a setup ain't nothing but I haven't heard him in years, but when he said it, just like I said, that's us there. A setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback. And that's the story of some of our lives. But this time we're going to manage it. And it ain't going to be no quick deal. So all these things that happened to us in the last few years, you would think they are setbacks. They're terrible. They're dealing with property. They're doing this, right? What it is we're arranging the environment so that's what they do. That's what design fitna is. You say, boss man, you're going to stick me right over here, boss, right there. You're telling them where to stick you, right? Every time they did something, we told them, oh, they're going to take our property. Now, that means in Oakland, that means Mukhtar signed a thing he didn't have no right to do, and the government know, and they ain't even give him the money. The government kept the money, because if he would have got the amount of money that if you have to pay on a sale $4,500 in taxes, that means they sold the property for around $1 million. Right, if the tax, the tax on it, it would be, well, $1 million would be 6,000 or something like that. So it's way up there, right? If he'd have hit us for that kind of money, that nigga would have been gone to China, right? He wouldn't be, remember how he called? He haven't called in a month. He ain't called in a month. But that's either they done told him, stop calling. Because whatever they done stole from us, they can't keep. That's why we're charging them. You got to look at it. I'm going to wrap this up. We have arranged the constant behavior of the government would be totally illegal, which it is, right? What they have been doing to us. It's illegal and it's actually ridiculous. So that's what we're going to sue them for. Yeah, we're going to sue the government for that. And that's what we're going to do. And we had aid in this. How would we have aid? In the last years, the last 10 years, the last 12 years, when we start really hitting at the Zionist, Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare, we would watch our building. It had that sign out there. People would drive by and look at that sign and pull over and stop and contemplate. Some would be Arabs, and a lot of them was Zionist. They would send Zionists to the program in Zionist get-up. They would be regular white folks. It'd be two Negroes there. and the rest of the people would be Zionist. And when they wrote in their paper, try to remember what they said. They would be saying exactly what we said. It was free publicity. It would be hardly nobody at the program. Nobody. But Zionists, and they would be writing an article in their papers. It ain't no Negroes even know we having the program. And they put it in their internet stuff, and everybody see it. Remember? Everybody see it. Free publicity. Free publicity. I mean, really free publicity. And the biggest ones, it's 300,000 people. The small ones got 300,000 people on their thing. And they see it. And guess what? It's written exactly like our flyer said it. It ain't changed nothing. Why? Because when other people hear it, it would be so offensive. But what about those 25,000 Muslims, they say, that read it? They ain't gonna say nothing. Whew. Boy, this is a bad boy here, just to say this stuff. Because they're putting my flyer on their thing, the way I wrote it. And then they realized what they done after several years. I'd have made fun of them. Yeah, y'all's as silly as, because they use our own pride against us. What's the thing that the Zionists have that's even superior to the white Americans? His pride as a Zionist. Yeah. It's bigger than the white man as the white man. Who taught, you could see when the Zionists are teaching the police, right? Because they do a Palestinian the same way they did George Floyd up there. To keep it, and the Zionists got all the records that the Zionist police teach them. When you see the police driving down the street with the lights blinking, that used to be, we said, I'm glad he do it because now I can see where the police is at, right? But for them in Israel, that puts a different thing on it. So they say, you do that here. And they do it. And for that police to keep his knee on that brother's neck was an inhumane method of carrying himself. That's the way Zionists do Palestinians. Because a regular white man would have just whooped you to death or shot you, but he wouldn't stay on people taking pictures of it, and he got his knee. The Zionists studied the records of the police. This guy been on the thing 17 times, so he'll do that. And they gave it to him. That's why, hey, we're on a roll here. We ain't even worried about it. Okay, so Imam Musa's story of tenacity and endurance begins in the 1960s as manager of the biggest and most well-organized black mafia-type organization in Northern California. In the early 1970s, this organization transitioned to becoming a financial supporter of the black liberation movement in exile. That means when I went into exile with the brothers, I took money. And I took more money than they had. Nobody gave them that kind of money. Okay. Black liberation movements in exile from Algeria to Tanzania. After years of leading the first and only multi-million-dollar African-American managed cocaine smuggling operation from Bogota and Medellin, Colombia, to the USA, the late 70s witnessed the voluntary closing down. At the end of these adventures, Big Hank, later to be known as Abdul Alim Musa, emerged as the founder. That's our story. And it's a great story. Okay, now here we are in D.C. When we come to D.C., you know, up there where you lived, all of here, every there, all this is our property. This is our property. We own 8 pieces of property. In order to get that property, you got to play certain psychological games. You have to let the government feel that they have totally infiltrated you, which they have, and you're not aware of it. You've seen pictures of hundreds of people at Eid's and all that here, right? The prayer lines would be all the way to the back. I mean, in a regular Jummah, they don't do that now. Why? Because we blew our own cover. When we let them know that we doing that on purpose, we already know what we doing. So they called all their folks home. Called them home, and they left. Because they was all there. We knew all the time. We knew who we was dealing with. Why we know? Because that's the way boss man operates. And then what we are in real life is just like the Chinese laundromans and Deng Xiaoping did to the Americans. The Americans built China. All the factories closed over here. You take 1980s, 90s, they closed them down here, they sent them to China. But China had one rule. We didn't watch the whole world. We're going to have, you're not going to just send us, we're going to have the transfer of technology, how to do it too. So that was part of the thing. But the greedy capitalist, you know the rule, says a capitalist will sell you a rope to hang himself with. And that's true. If you're going to hang a capitalist with a cheap rope, he'll say, hold it. That cheap rope? He'll say, hey, man, I give you a bargain deal on the strongest and the best rope in the world. And they'll bargain with you for that rope to hang himself. That's what they said about the capitalist. The capitalist will sell you a rope to hang him with. Okay, now, we had a lot of stuff going for us. The biggest thing, we was black. That's big. That's a big help. So you got to have a lot of, you got to know who you are because, you know, in this strategic stuff, you can't be arrogant. You can't be arrogant. Like our friend, real good friend. You can't be arrogant like that. Why? They'll just study you and find he's arrogant. He can't be fearful because if he's fearful, we'll threaten him with his kids. The kids is this, and they'll, use them and kill them. And they're going to study you to find out which button do we have to push. They pushed the white girl button, like that. They pushed the money button. He didn't already had tons of money. They push it. Let's scare them to death. So they try to scare you, and you just laugh at them. After the third time, you be waiting for them. And when they jump out and say, boo, you be there too. Boo back, and you start having fun with them. Okay, that's why having fun, you have to design a behavior that fits your character. And if you was a kid in the life of the party all the time, and that means you can do that. You can pull that off. Another guy that's got some of the same basics as you, but his self-esteem is too high. No, his self-esteem is just like yours, but he can't lower his. So they're an easy target for the government. The government said, I'll do something to him, right? Make him mad, and he'll kill everybody, right? It's the simplest thing that they're happy, right? They're happy. Okay, well, why don't I respond? You didn't see the pictures, blood all upside the head, everything? No problem, no big deal. Why? Because we're in a struggle, we're in a battle. And we got it good over here. Why? Because the worst thing they can do is arrest you in your own masjid over and over again and bust you upside the head. And the guy that do it is a bum. So you set them up to make them do that.